But what she said was, for those of us over 40, how do I get the amount of calcium that I need? She's taking 2 calcium antacid supplements, little capsules per day. And then she says, well, I also have my lattes for calcium. So I think she was asking, is that enough? What do I need in terms of calcium? I want to first explain why your body needs calcium and why we think of it in association with bones, and then I'll talk about how to get the appropriate amount. So calcium is not just for bones, believe it or not. Calcium is critical for so many processes in your body, for your hormones to be secreted appropriately, for your nerves to conduct appropriately. Calcium is required for those reactions, for your muscles to contract. Calcium is required for that, and not most importantly, but also importantly, to maintain your body's pH. So calcium is very basic. So if your blood is too acidic for any reason, one reason might be you're eating too much sugar, alcohol, meat, processed food, something like that, your body will suck some of the calcium out of your bones in order to balance your body's pH and make it more basic. So this is why when people are drinking lots of sodas, for example, or eating a diet that's high in sugar, we tend to associate that with osteoporosis, with brittle bones. It's not that the soda causes your bones to be weak. It's that the soda causes your blood to be more acidic, and then your blood says, help, I have to maintain the right pH. What can I do to make me more basic or more alkaline, the opposite of acid? And what it can do is leach calcium from your bones. So then that causes the osteoporosis when you don't have enough calcium in your bones. So it doesn't change the recommendation, but sometimes it's helpful to know about that loop, that when your body needs calcium for all these other functions, it's sucking it out of your bones, and that's what gives you the brittle bones. So when we take in calcium through our diet or through supplementation, it's not directly going to our bones all the time. Sometimes it might be going to balance the pH or conduct muscles or nerves or release hormones or all the other functions that I mentioned. But in doing that, then it prevents your body from leaching excess calcium from your bones. Cool. One more thing about this. In order for our body to appropriately absorb and utilize calcium, we need 3 things to be present as well. We need magnesium to be present, we need vitamin D to be present, and we need vitamin K to be present. And vitamins A, D, E, and K are fat-soluble vitamins, which means that they are stored in our body for a little bit longer than the water-soluble vitamins. So it doesn't mean that every single time you take in calcium, you have to take in the equivalent amount of vitamin D, E, and magnesium. It just means that you need to have enough of that on board, and even better if you take it in combination. So you'll see a lot of supplements with calcium that also have, especially vitamin D. Those are usually linked. It would be even better if it had magnesium, D, and K as well. But just know that in order to absorb calcium, you could take a bajillion units of calcium, and if you don't have magnesium, D, and K on board, your body can't utilize that calcium. I'm saying this for a reason, and here's the reason. This is one of many factors that make food a much better source of calcium than supplementation. Food is always the best way to get our nutrients. Supplements can be a good patch, can be a good, if I can't get this or my body doesn't utilize this appropriately or I have some condition, supplements are a good patch. And supplements are also a good extra. So I take, for example, a vitamin B complex supplement every day because my body doesn't utilize it doesn't hang on to vitamin B very much, even when I do consume it, especially vitamin B12 is mostly from animal products, things like that. But my body just is constantly low in B. So I take a vitamin B complex supplement to balance out my body's levels. Anyway, that's a special case for almost everything, I and you and everyone would be better off getting our nutrients from food. Think of supplements as bonus if you want them, and where the meat cut, where the best part comes is from your food. So if you're concerned about calcium, Victoria, you should be concerned about getting enough calcium from your food. I'm going to tell you one more reason why you should get it from food. So a long time ago, calcium supplements were all the rage. Everyone was taking calcium supplements, woohoo. What happened over that period of time? Did our incidence of fractures go down? No, not at all. As calcium supplementation increased, incidence of fractures did not go down. Then there was a big scare that calcium supplements are tied to coronary heart disease and heart attack and all kinds of heart issues later in life. So the studies were showing that when you take calcium supplements, you have a higher risk of heart attack, heart disease. That seems backwards, but that's what some studies were showing, and they were getting a lot of press. So, of course, I never like to believe just one study because who knows what could happen. It could be left up to chance. So I look at several meta-analyses, which are like compilations of studies. And basically, if you look at that, it shows no increased risk of heart attack with calcium supplementation in general, but also very little to no decreased risk of fractures with calcium supplementation. So I'm all the way back to my point about it's way better to get it from food. Studies do show that when you have higher calcium intake in your diet, then you have reduced risk of fractures. So, Victoria, if you really want to take your calcium supplements, fine, but also focus on getting it from food. It's better absorbed that way. Here are the best sources of calcium. I'm so happy to report to you that the number one most dense source of calcium in the world is leafy green vegetables. Oh, it's like the angels are coming down and singing because I get to recommend vegetables again. This is awesome. Kale, 1 cup of kale has 24% of your daily value of calcium. So that's a lot, right? If you had kale and then some of these other things I'm going to recommend, you're totally covered. Collard greens, spinach, arugula, mustard greens, beet greens, turnip greens, all of these dark greens, these are fantastic in calcium. And the benefit is that they're also paired with magnesium and some of the other cofactors that you need, so you absorb that calcium really well. Sardines are the next one. I'm going to be totally honest with you and say that sardines still kind of gross me out. Sometimes I get them because I know they're super healthy and they don't taste that bad, but they just, I don't love them. But if you love sardines, please eat lots of sardines. They're great in calcium. You're actually eating the bones of the fish, which is how you get some of the calcium. So very good. Yogurt and kefir, however you want to say that, those are great sources of calcium, and I actually prefer that over sources like cheese, milk, things like that, especially if you're getting like an organic kefir. I think that kefir is fermented yogurt. That's a fantastic source of probiotics, good to repopulate your gut, very concentrated in calcium, so that would be good. Broccoli, bok choy, Brussels sprouts, all of these things are so rich in calcium. And I haven't even gotten to like cheese yet. So tofu, if you tolerate tofu, and preferably if you're getting a non-GMO organic version of tofu, I would prefer that. That's a great source of calcium. Almonds, sesame seeds, all of these things are great sources of calcium. So let's say if you had a cup of kale, Victoria, I think you make some crustless quiches or you put some veggies in your eggs. So you put a cup of kale in your eggs or smoothie in the morning. Then you had a spinach salad at lunch. Then you had a serving of almonds as a snack. You may have a cup of yogurt or kefir or something like that in the afternoon as well. You're covered right there. Maybe you need to add a little bit of broccoli, something like that. But we've gotten all of our calcium needs from real food, and we didn't have to worry about supplementation. And I think if you are eating a generally balanced vegetable heavy diet, you're pretty covered on the calcium spectrum.